All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today. As always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. And we want to make sure that we start our day off by taking massive action. And that action stands for accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, centering yourself, body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trust in your education, strategy, trade skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So, um, yeah, let's get to it. We'll take a look at some fundamental things, get caught up around the globe, and then we will dive in. We'll get through as many charts as possible. But we do have some things moving into some good scenarios. So let's get to it. Let's if everybody can hear me okay, drop me one in the chat. Appreciate it. Let's head over to trading economics. And cool. So the a couple big stories today, but China unveils new support measures. The People's Bank of China introduced new measures to boost the economy, amid concerns that the 2024 growth target around 5% might be out of reach. Moves include a 50 basis point cut in the reserves required ratio, 20 basis point cut in key short-term interest rates, and the PBOC also plans to lower borrowing costs on up to 5.3 trillion in mortgages and relax rules for second home purchases. Right? So stimulus program in China, right? Um, so that is designed to boost the economy, right? Boost spending and all of that jazz. So that'll be interesting to see how it impacts the markets going forward, at least in the short term when it comes to spending in China. Okay. Then Reserve Bank of Australia maintained its cash rate at 4.35% during September meeting, keeping borrowing costs unchanged for the seventh consecutive gathering and aligning with the market consensus. However, the central bank continued to view that inflation momentum as represented by the trim mean remains too high. Meanwhile, headline inflation may fall further, but will not return to the 2 to 3% target until 2026. The board reiterated the need to stay vigilant to upside inflation risk while not ruling anything in or out as it relies on data. Right, it stated that the policy would be sufficiently restrictive for some time. The RBA noted that household consumption is still expected to pick up in the second half of 2024 amid receding headwinds, but the pace of rebound may be slower than expected. Right, that could result in continued subdued output growth and a sharper deterioration in the labor market. Right, that deterioration in the labor market, right, is key um, in that conversation. Uh, do, 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 do. Yeah, so that's what happened yesterday for the Aussie. Uh, um, Brent crude futures rose to around 75 and a half a barrel on Tuesday, recouping losses from the previous sessions as the prospect of supply disruptions outweighed concern over sluggish demand, increasing tensions in the Middle East, have heightened fears of broader conflict in the key oil-producing regions following Israel's strikes on Lebanon on Monday, the deadliest strike since 2006 Israel-Hezbollah war. Investors are also monitoring the risk of a potential hurricane strike in the U.S. Gulf, which could impact crude output later this week. Additionally, China announced a series of stimulus to support the economic slump, easing concerns over sluggish demand for the world's top oil consumer. Meanwhile, the Eurozone reported an unexpected decline in business activity, with services stagnating and manufacturing worsening, amplifying concerns about the outlook for the region's energy demand, right? So oil to the upside, which we saw previously, right? So there we go there. And a little bit more about China. Shanghai Composite rallied 4.15 to close at 2,863, while the Shenzhen Composite surged 4.36 on Tuesday, with both benchmarks notching their best day gains in over 2 years after the central bank chief unveiled a slate of policy easing measures to support the economy. Um, mm, 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 mm. PBOC will cut reserves. Right, we talked about that. So, right, stock market positive increase or positive boost from the stimulus announcement out of China. Broker 4-hour cloud is moving. It's moving. All right, so that's where we are there. Also, some of the ECB members saying October cut not excluded, but the data is scarce, is the headline of the article. So they're watching the data closely to see what the move in October is. Since there was a downturn in the Eurozone PMI data, right? So I'll post this one in the in the chat for you guys to take a look at, but some concerns there in the Eurozone. So potentially could see a pause in October, but we'll see how things go there. Okay. Over to the calendar. Let's go forward. There's that PMI data out of the Eurozone yesterday, right? All below expectation. All of it. So we'll see what happens. You also have flash PMI out of the UK for the pound, also below expectation. Okay. Later on today, we have, I'm sorry, nope. Then you have flash PMI for the dollar, manufacturing PMI below expectation, services PMI at expectation, right? And there's your cash rate for the Aussie. Late last night, early this morning. I didn't get a chance to look at what Governor Ueda said or details from the press conference that we just read, but later on today, consumer confidence for the United States. Bank of Canada, Governor Macklem speaks. Services PPI for the yen and CPI for the Aussie later tonight. Wednesday, not a ton, right? BOJ CPI early morning, crude oil inventories, new home sales, member speaking. We do have meeting minutes from the Bank of Japan. Then on Thursday, monetary policy for the Swiss franc. All right. Big news there. Then we got GDP, unemployment claims for the dollar, core durable goods. Tons of members speaking from the FOMC. Jerome Powell also speaks. Christine Lagarde. All right, tons of speakers on Thursday. Everybody coming to the microphone in some way, shape, or form. All right, so tons that could move the market there from different aspects. And you got core CPI, Tokyo CPI for the yen Thursday night. Then into Friday, GDP for the Canadian dollar, core PCE for the dollar. All right. So second half of the week could pick up quite a bit, or really kind of consistent throughout. So that's where we are from a fundamental perspective. Benny, good morning, bro.
Right. Ryan, good morning, sir. How are you?
I am doing well, man. Doing well. Glad to be here, getting caught up on everything. How are you, man?
Oh man, I'm doing pretty good. Hope everybody else is doing well this morning.
Awesome. Awesome. Talk to me anything fundamentally top of mind for you or anything else that you came across?
Just I mean the news on the Australian dollar, they held rates, you know. It's a little back and forth in regards to that tone. Typically, right, if we were in an environment where everybody was hiking rates and then they held, right, that could be seen as dovish, but we're not, right? We've got a lot of central banks cutting rates right now,
Yeah.
so they're keeping it you know, restrictive, but they're not. I mean, they left the door open to be data dependent. Especially since they're saying they're not expecting inflation to return to 2 to 3% target until 2026. So the door is still open. For hikes in the future if inflation started to get started to go the other way on them.
Hmm.
But considering the fact that everybody else is cutting, I don't necessarily count them holding rates as a strike against them, as compared to other economies, because these other economies aren't, it's not like they have more aggressive rate hikes right now. Everybody's cutting pretty much, with the exception of a couple that have decided they've cut and then they've held, so there's not a strike against them there. Where it is a strike against, that Aussie, and I'm interested to see how investors are going to interpret it as when they mentioned that they have concerns about slower household consumption and economic growth. You
Mm.
know,
Okay.
because those are key factors you know that we pay attention to, right? Especially economic growth in regards to GDP. So that
Yeah.
could cause investors to be less confident in the strength of the Australian economy. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays into what China's doing to try to boost their economy, knowing that they're a larger trade partner. So it's a lot to take in regards to that relationship that we have to read further into. You know, so that's still kind of up in the air. So it's like, man, they're staying restrictive, they're not hiking. Okay, against other central banks, they're good because a lot of central banks are cutting, but you've got concerns about economic growth, right? So a little mix there. Um, and then at the same time, on the case for strength, again, they are keeping, you know, things, restrictive, meaning that the borrowing costs are still high. Um, and we're in an environment where every other central banks are cutting. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's a little back and forth on the data. It's a little bit mixed, but I really, um, you know, I'm really going to pay attention to continue to watch going forward, since they're staying data dependent. Watch the numbers in regards to their growth. Watch the household consumption. Watch the retail sales numbers and things like that going into the future, and then just also keeping an eye on whether or not their inflation, is going in the right direction moving forward, since they did stay data dependent. So overall, I thought it was kind of mixed, coming out of their statement yesterday.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Because in the short term, some some people may see it, you know, as a little dovish considering the growth issues. But at the same time, they're maintaining their rates, and other central banks are cutting, like the United States just cut by 50 basis points. So um, we're gonna have to stay data dependent as well in regards to the Aussie. And then of course we know it's a commodity currency, so watching the sentiment, risk on, risk off.
Yeah.
If the markets continue to rally, then just because of sentiment, we may see it continue to head in a bullish direction. So this one is a little tricky one, especially since it's been running long for quite a little while. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah, for sure. Um, this part also caught my eye too, a sharper deterioration in the labor market.
Yep, yep. So I mean, but like deterioration in the labor market, you got a decrease in household consumption. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So think about that. So some of that's because of when it was just like here in the United States, right? When they say we need something to break. You know what I mean? And when you talk about how
yeah,
wages have been high, and so the decline in the labor market, that's kind of what you need to happen, to get inflation back under control. But it's not. I guess it's not happening at a fast enough pace, being that they're pushing their projections out to reach their inflation target in 2026.
right,
So we'll
right.
continue to watch that. But that decline in the labor market can have is a you know has a
Must
direct
have.
impact on household consumption. If
Hmm.
people aren't working, wages are coming down. You might have less spending, less household consumption. So it's
Yep,
gonna be
yep.
interesting to see the Aussie going forward.
It surely will. Surely will. Appreciate you, bro. Team, you guys got anything caught your eye before we head over to the charts? Or any questions? No? Okay.
The charts are interesting coming out of the weekend. I was taking a look at
They
them because
are.
a lot of things were setups that we've had that just continue to run. So there wasn't really anything to me that was new coming out of the weekend. Just to continue to run on the setups that were already going in our direction. So
Yeah, I was looking at some of the daily time frames, and we do have some pushing into overbought territory and coming into some previous resistance levels. So I'm
yeah,
curious on some of those and how they look. But no, you're correct. They just been running, man. They just been running. Um, all right, so DXY still range bound. All right, still range bound. That's that one. All right, still pressing sideways here. So we'll see. Excuse me. We'll see what happens. Stochastic push to the upside, price coming down. This daily support level, excuse me, is now there. Now it's a weekly level. Um, it's still holding firm, right? Still holding firm. We'll see where things go going forward, but we haven't broken the support level. So at some point, do we see, right? Maybe even just price press back to the top of the range here. Okay, so we'll watch and see how things move, but we're just range bound on the dollar. You see that clearly there. Okay, stochastic pushing into the buy zone there on the 4. So not a ton happening on the DXY, but we'll watch it to see um, if we get something later on in the week to give us a catalyst in a different direction. Okay. Uh, all right. So that's the DXY. I want to look at these Aussies, seeing as we had rate statement where they held mixed data, right? Here on the daily time frame in the Aussie CAD, we got stochastic in the sell zone coming into we're sitting at a weekly resistance level. And you see the indecision in the chart, just like we saw the indecision in the statement. Okay. So do we at some point get a retracement and then a continuation here? Okay. So watching to see how price moves at this level. Okay. Watching to see how price moves at this level. um, so that's the daily time frame there. Okay. Also, No, not quite. We need to push further to be butterfly there. So no harmonic pattern yet. If we get more bullish action, then we could. We come down to the 4. And from the fib to the upside. That's where we are. 618 retracement. We're headed to the D extension. We're just shy of it now, right? So do we get another push to the upside to get to the D extension, right? Breaking that weekly level. And then do we get a reversal of some sort? Okay. There we go. And then do we get a reversal of some sort? Okay. Then coming down to our 1 hour. We broke the cloud, right? And we're pulling back. So it's more like a retest, not really a strong break there. We're pulling back to the upside. Don't have cloud confirmation on the 1 just yet, but run the fib off the low to the upside. That's our current bias, and boom. Right? So we got an 80-20 on the 1. Do we get another push to the upside to get to the D extension on that 4 hour? Right? Press further into that overbought territory before we get a retracement back to the downside. Right? And so you can play this either way, right? Looking for that move back down the 80-20 or wait for a low price, then to get back long. If we don't get data that shifts that sentiment altogether. Okay. So 80-20 on the 1. We'll look to see if we get this swing high to form over the next 2 days on the daily, right? We get that swing high, and we could see a retracement come here. Okay. So watching that Aussie CAD for reversal. Questions?
Nope.
No questions? Okay. Over to Aussie Swiss. We got Swiss rate statement coming tomorrow. Is that what we said? Thursday. So again, here on the daily, we've been moving to the upside, right? Just shy of a 382 here on the daily. Stochastic in the sell zone, back at this daily resistance level. Okay. What happens here? What happens here? Do we get that reversal back down and then get a low price to get back long? Okay. There's your overall fib coming down, pushing deeper into the zone on that fib. Okay. So do we get reversal and then a continuation long? Coming down to the 4. Take this out. I'm gonna flip this fib to the upside. We haven't taken that A out yet, but bias overall here is long. So we're going to run the fib off the low. Boom. Right. So we got a matching D extension on the 4 that's here, but do we get a pullback first? And do we get somewhat of a crown type action here? Before we get that continuation to the upside. Okay, so do we get a pullback and then a continuation long? That's the question there. Okay, so that's on the 4. And then coming down to the 1. There's our larger fib coming off the low. Okay, and then a sub fib coming off the C. Another 80-20 scenario at a daily resistance level. Okay, so do we get that pullback back to this previous weekly level, right? 50% 618 retracement, retesting previous resistance here, and then a continuation long. Okay. All right. So we're overbought on the daily resistance level. Do we get the pullback? Questions on the Aussie Swiss.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, cool deal. Right on these, waiting for additional confirmation. Right, either swing high on the daily, cloud break on the one. Right, some additional points of confirmation to put us in that move back down to the downside, but some interesting opportunities as Benny said. Right, prices continue to run on a lot of these in our direction. Right, and the overall bias is long, but do we get a pullback before the continuations? Okay. Aussie yen, similar story. Daily time frame, overbought. Not quite back at this resistance level yet, 99.7, 99.8. But right, we took back a major portion of that move to the downside here. Okay. So we got some yen data coming later in the week, right? So do we get a pullback and then a continuation to the upside on these yens? Okay. Similar story though, right? So watching to see if we get some supporting detail here. Okay. On the 4, this is where we are. We had an 8.6 retracement. We're tracking the matching extension here at 99,906, right? But just do we get a pullback before the continuation? Right. That's all I'm looking for is low prices for continued moves to the upside. Okay. Take that out. It's moving where we wanted it to. Then as we come down to the 1, right, this is where we are on the 1. Not 80-20 confirmation or anything like that. Just been moving long. Okay. So this one will be more interesting as we don't have as much confirmation as the Aussie Swiss and Aussie CAD. But could we see that pullback and then a continuation, maybe a double bottom here at that 50% level, and then a continuation to the upside? Okay, so we'll watch that closely as well and see where things go from a sentiment perspective and from a risk on, risk off perspective. Okay, so watching this one more from a daily time frame perspective, right? And maybe we get another push to the upside to get to this 99.9 level before that retracement comes, right? That's also could be in the cards, right? So more bullish action first on this one potentially. Okay, so that's the Aussie yen, Aussie New Zealand. This is always interesting. Been consolidating here, right? And technically we have a swing high, right? 109,433. Yeah, so we have a swing high here technically. Do we get a pullback and then a continuation as well? Okay. Looking at this one over the long term to continue moving to the upside, but do we get a pullback, retest some of these lower levels, and then a continuation to the upside, stochastic and then sell zone? On the 4, just missed that 118 level, right? We got a 382 on the pullback. Do we get a deeper pullback here, right? And come down 618, 786 levels before we get that continuation to the upside. Okay. See, we're trying to get bearish here on the 4. And then here you are on your 1. Just wick that 382 level there, right? Stalled in that 118, 127 zone, and we're trying to push back down. So could we get that deeper retracement? Okay. So we got to swing high on the daily, and we're trying to move lower. We got cloud break, cloud confirmations here, right? So we could be in for more movement to the downside on this Aussie New Zealand before we get back long. Okay. So that's where we are there. Looking for something like this. Retest of the cloud. And then it moved back down into the sweet spot. Okay. Questions on the Aussie New Zealand?
Nope.
Nope. Cool beans. Ultimately looking for continuations in these, but retracements first. Aussie dollar. You know, the dollar is consolidating. Here we are with the Aussie pushed back into this daily resistance level, right? 68,700, right? Previous high here, still inside this down AB boundary. Where do we go from here? Tony Braxton said that, I think. But stochastic in the sell zone, do we see price turnover, right, with indecision? Okay, so we need 2 more days to give us that swing high, double top scenario. But do we get a move back down? And do we get somewhere for a period of time a bullish case for the dollar in the short term? Okay, and this is where we are on the 4. Had an 80-20 beautiful move down, push back up. Now where do we go? Do we come back down, give us a double bottom at the support level for a continuation long, right? What happens here? So watching to see as this part develops. Here on our 1, this is where we sit, fresh AB boundary, right? So it makes sense for a retracement. The fresh AB boundary. So then it's a question of, do we get the AB boundary move back down, or do we get another push to the upside, get us to the D extension on the 4, right? Push to the upside, get us to the D extension on the 4, and then a move down. Oops, didn't want that to come in there. Okay. So a couple different scenarios on this one, right? Either AB boundary retracement or one more push into the 118 to 127 zone, giving us an 80-20. Then do we see that swing high on the daily form for that retracement? Okay. So watching that there, also got a shorter term potential crown pattern trying to form here. See if we get that action there. Okay. So that's the Aussie dollar. Another potential retracement opportunity. Questions here?
Nope.
Cool deal. CAD again. Beautiful move back to the upside, right? Strong push, stochastic pushing into the buy zone now. I mean, into the sell zone, right? What happens? We got potential strength in oil. Does that trickle into the Canadian dollar? What happens here? Okay. And all of these yens, excuse me, are in similar positions. Beautiful cloud break, been pushing long. Do we get a retest of the cloud and then that continuation to the upside? All right, that's what I'm looking for there. Okay, we got a 618 retracement here, right? Pushing long. We get something like that. D extension, then a reset. Okay. This is what we're retesting is previous support at the moment, right? This was a support level here. We're back in that zone. Okay. So down on the 1, AB boundary didn't quite get to that 382. Also just missed that 118, 127 zone. Okay. So on this one, I'm just waiting on the low price here. I'm not looking to trade the retracement, but I am looking for a low price to then get back long. And this is still relatively in the shorter term, but looking to see price at least get to this D extension here at 111,882. Right. So watching to see how it moves over time. But that's what I'm looking for. Questions on the CAD again.
Nope.
Swiss yen. So this one's already starting its move to the downside. Overbought, retesting previous support, right? Got some indecision. We got a rate statement coming later this week. Now this one could be interesting, as this one could potentially turn over here. Okay, on the daily time frame. Nope, that didn't break the low here. Right? Do we see price come back a little bit higher and then give us a crown pattern to the downside? Right? Do we see another push to the upside here, getting back to these previous highs here? And giving us this crown action and a move back down, lower high also on that move down. Okay. So watching these yens as they get back to testing previous support levels, right? Areas where they broke out of their last retracements, looking to see how price moves. So this would be interesting coming into Thursday and what the Swiss National Bank does. Expected to cut another 25 basis points, right? So we shall see how things evolve there. Okay, so that's on the daily, stochastic in that sell zone. On the 4, inching into the sweet spot here, right? Nice wick there. Do we get price to turn over and start making its way back down to the downside? Okay, beautiful 80-20 through both TPs. I don't know if anybody played that one long, but do we settle in and do we get a reversal here on this Swiss yen? Okay. So watching this here to see if we get that move. And so down on the 1, see price is already turning over, right? Coming out of that zone. What happens here? Okay. Do we get a kickback up to the daily level before that reversal to give us that crown pattern? Right? What happens? What happens in the area here? So watching that one. That one could be starting its move to the downside. So we'll watch and see there. Questions on the Swiss yen?
Nope.
Nope.
Right, deal. Give me 1 minute, everybody. All right. So that's the Swissy yen. Let's take a look at this Euro Aussie. So push back down to this. We broke this support level here. We got some indecision happening here, obviously with that Aussie, right? And some interesting comments coming out of the Eurozone, stochastic in the buy zone here, right? You see, we kind of been in this area for quite some time. Do we see this shift come? Right? We didn't make it to the matching D extension here, just missed it, right? Do we see another reversal back to the upside here? Okay. So watching this one closely, got indecision today. Do we get two more candles to the right to form to give us that new swing low and start a move back to the upside? All right. Coming down to the 4. You see price got to that D extension. Beautiful 80-20, got to the 382, then reversed back out. Tap the D extension. Now strong bullish action back to the upside here, right? So this could be an indicator for us on a reversal. Yeah, we'll get a fresh AB boundary once we get another candle to close to the right? Look something like that. But are we ready for this move back to the upside here? Okay. Down on you one. That's what that strong bullish move on the 4 looks like. We're pulling back. Crown action potential here. Okay. So looking for this reversal here on this Euro Aussie back to the upside. We got indecision right now on the daily. D extension achieved on the 4, right? Looking to see if we get, and we could potentially even stall out a little bit here before we get that reversal back to the upside. But do we get a move back long here on this Euro Aussie? That's what I'm looking for there. Okay. Questions on the Euro Aussie?
No.
Okay. Euro CAD. And this one is interesting. Um, Overall been long, right? We broke previous resistance here to the downside. Stochastic in the sell zone here, right? Candle closes today will give us a swing high here on the daily, right? On this one, do we see another move down to that support level at 148,972? Okay, so watching this one closely, this one is an interesting situation. Okay, curious to see how it evolves. Um, because we could also get an inverted head and shoulders here. Right. So watching to see how this evolves here. But potentially a little bit more movement to the downside before we get that reversal back up. So cash starting to push down. Okay, with that move to the downside there. So coming down to the 4, right? There's that head and shoulders pattern there. Okay. But do we get another move to the downside here first? Make this a deeper right shoulder. So interesting scenario. Interesting scenario. And then down to the 1. Technical 80-20 here. Boom, took out the A. Fib running down. Ooh, interesting, right? 80-20 here on the 1. So let's see, right? Maybe we get a move back up instead of down. This one's back and forth. This is interesting here. 80-20 on the one. This will be interesting to see. Maybe retracement before continuation down. It's going to be an interesting development here to see how this moves, right? Off this retracement. We broke the cloud, but kind of consolidating there. Let's watch this one and see how it develops, right? If we get a pullback and a continuation down, or if this is just a straight reversal back to the upside. But 80-20 here on the one, if anybody's looking to play this Euro CAD to the upside. Questions on this Euro CAD?
No, sir.
Benny, your buy still long on this one?
Fundamentally, yes, for right now. Just just not sold on the cat. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, of course, we're always watching that oil price, but just domestically, when we talk about the Canadian dollar, fundamentally, I'm not looking for the cat, looking for cash strength.
yeah,
But like I said, with everything that's going on in the Middle East with oil, we know that that can have an impact on oil prices. So,
for sure, for sure. All right, so 80-20 opportunity there, good people. All right, so let's see how that one evolves. What else I got on my list? We got 10 minutes.
can you take a look at Adobe?
Oh yeah,
It's sitting at a good level right now on the daily. I like where it's sitting technically. I like the price point. I think it's got some upside to it.
sure. Adobe. Ooh, stochastic buy zone, swing low, 8-6 retracement. I like it. Support there, support there. Large gap here, at least to fill. Boom. Great work on this, bro. They're in that reversal on Adobe, right? Look for some continuation to the upside. Stochastic in the buy zone. Pick that out. There's your 80-20 on the four. Boom. Beautiful reversal. Closed yesterday in the sell zone. We'll see how the market opens on this one, right? We get a gap down or a move back down, it'd be a beautiful opportunity, but that's a nice opportunity for some upside movement there. Take out that high. I like it. I like it. I like it. Down on the one, 80-20 as well. I like the look there. Closed yesterday, stochastic in the sell zone also, right? So maybe we do get either a gap down or a pullback to the downside at market open, giving us a low price. That's a good look there. That's a good look there. Adobe to the upside, good people. 80-20 on the 4 and on the 1. With the daily stochastic in the buy zone and a swing low form. That's everything we're looking for. That's everything we're looking for. Great work, bro. Add
Appreciate
this
it.
to my list. Definitely grab that one at market open. All right. Cool deal. Let me go back to the one I just left. CHI. It's a BlackRock Chinese fund, right? Ben and I came across this one last week. And been looking at it, and we got the swing low to form here, and you see price moving to the upside, and you see what's happening in China now, right? We could see this one continue to move long here, right? With the things that are happening in China, um with the stimulus package, right? 80-20 here, reversal up, right? Came back almost a double bottom. Now we're pushing to the upside. We just broke this previous resistance level here, the daily close, broke the cloud, right? We do have stochastic in the sell zone. So do we get a pullback and a continuation to the upside on this one? Right? That's what I'm watching here, right? As we get to that D extension there. Okay. Down on the 4. Super choppy overall with all the gaps, but boom, right? The move to the downside was an 80-20, came down into our sweet spot, 618 retracement, almost a double bottom. Looking for price to get to the matching D extension of 48.89, right? Especially with the break of this daily resistance level, right? Looking for pullbacks and continuations on this one. And with the stimulus package out of China, gives a boost to the potential here on a move long, right? Beautiful cloud break. We got Kumo twist, lightning span above price, right? All of our cloud confirmations to the upside as well. Okay, so looking for pullbacks, get a low price, and then look to get long on this. Okay, MCHI down on the 1. What does that look like? Boom. Retracement continuation. Okay, that's another one to keep your eyes on for a longer term move to the upside. It's already been moving, but if we get a nice pullback, could be an opportunity to continue that to the upside, get to $48 and some change. Questions? No? Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. Great session. Appreciate you, man.
No doubt. Appreciate you. All right, good people. Keep your eyes on. Continue to be patient, right? Continue to take action. Continue to take action. I have that Mindset Monday posted for you guys later today on the replay. Had to make some edits, re-record some stuff. So, but I'll have that posted in the community for you guys later on today if you want to review that. But at the end of the day, it's all about that action, boss. All right. You guys have a phenomenal Tuesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for this New York session. Talk soon. Peace.